Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are gonna be both continuing and ending the narration for the Rewinding Breeze side story, or rather side stories, in Arknights. So yeah, today will be part 2 and both the ending with the last 4 stories that I did not cover in part 1, obviously. So, considering that these are individual stories, I will not do a long-winded recap as usual, but will be as brief as possible, just going over the individual stories at a glance before we begin with our final 4 for today. However, before that, most importantly, thank you very much for the likes on the previous episode. They mean a lot and they help a lot in the algorithm, so thank you very much. Alright then, so last time we obviously went over the first 3 stories in this collection. The first one being Homecoming, and the story where it's the only side story that is essentially featuring Surtur in there, and it doesn't tell us much outside of the fact that she potentially has multiple memories of multiple people in her head, how they came there and what happened. You are asking the wrong person. You are literally asking the wrong person for that. I did leave a theory of my own, which is basically just me spitballing something in the previous episode, so if you missed that, go back and listen to it. But anyway, at least at the end of the story she got some ice cream. However, in our second story, Expatriates, we followed Irene, as he went through some procedures that he had to do on board of Rhode Island, and along the way met with Adnakiel and also Ambriel, and the 3 Lateranos had a bit of conversation back and forth. And I'll say this, and this is probably the most biggest theme about these side stories, that they are not just connecting to already stuff that exists, but are also foreshadowing and more elaborating about stuff that will come in the future. For example, in the Expatriate story, we learned a bit more details about Laterano in general, which we will later get to know in Guide Ahead for the most part, and in future stories that are still gonna come along the way. But yeah, the 3 of them had a get-together, got some talking done, and at the end of the day, Irene changed a bit of his mood and became a bit more straightforward, not trying to cut corners at the end. And in our third story, Astray, we went over yet another get-together between operators, this time around with Elysium, Thorns, Pure Stream, and Absinthe. The 4 of them shared a couple of stories about their respective home territories, or where they're exactly from. But yet again, the story would foreshadow certain parts. For Elysium, it would foreshadow kinda his operator record, but also his involvement in the later Iberian storylines involving Undertides and Stultifera Navis. And yeah, again, a lot of foreshadowing in these stories, and I'll say this, a lot of this I did not even remember, because it was one of those things, you don't really make a connection to these stories until you actually get the things in the game that they have talked about before, right? But anyway, today's story we shall begin with Recollection, featuring mostly Mudrock and the Mudrock squad. This story, I will say up front, does slightly mention the events of Twilight of Volumonde. Now, it will not spoil anything about the story itself, the plot and what was happening over there, so you are fine if you have not either listened to my narration of Twilight of Volumonde yet, or had plans, to read Twilight of Volumonde. This will not spoil anything, outside of the fact that Mudrock and her squad were there for those events, so you are completely fine on that front. However, if you do wanna and have not yet listened to Twilight of Volumonde, I will leave a link to the narration that I did earlier this year in the description of the video. So then, let us begin with Recollection.
Bob, how have you been? I received your letter. I'm happy to hear you made it to Columbia safely. We're all doing well enough, at least we're all alive. Chainsmoke still wants to arm wrestle you, just once and win. Chef remembers your bounty hunters owe him 3 gold coins. It might be a little late by the time the messenger reaches Columbia, But even so, I wanted to congratulate you. I'm glad you could escape it all, Bob. Really. I still remember your invitation. I am grateful you still remember us, Sarkas. But...
Run, Mudrock! Run to Castle, to somewhere you can survive!
No, don't say that. Don't...
Mudrock! And never look back!
But...
Leave me! Run! Run far until Castle, until you reach Castle!
Chain smoke! Chain... Let's go. Hurry. But it's hard to say we're all doing well. After parting with you, we headed for Lithanian. We've gone through a lot. One mortifying thing is we're called Mudrock Squad now. You know I don't like to show myself, but the infected in Lithanian needed help. They needed to be saved. I couldn't leave them to their fates, Bob. Just like you'd never leave your bounty hunter brothers behind.
Why haven't the scouts reported back yet? Not them too, right? Don't panic. The fog in this forest is thick. They wouldn't find us again so easily. But it's been 8 days already. And we've lost 12 of our own. We don't even know who it is hunting us.
Don't be too hard on anyone. Against enemies like these, it's only natural to panic. It's only right.
Mudrock?
The one thing you can be sure is that they are casters. My friends can be my eyes, but that's all. No way to seize their silhouettes in this fog.
But it's been non-stop fireballs, hailstone and hurricanes. They've been right by us all this time. Wait. What if this days-long fog is their arts as well? This is normal weather. If they can make eyes of fire dance in the sky, they can...
Calm down.
We're leaning on the back foot, though. That's a fact. We have no clue about their identity, their number, or how they've even tracking us. The moment we leave an opening, someone gets attacked. This is some messed up exotic guerrilla warfare.
Do Lithanian casters do this? If so, it's news to me.
I don't know. I've never known casters like this. If the captain's tremendous gift for art, if the captain can't do anything, what could we do? What do we do? If we keep pressing forward like we planned, I don't even know how many attacks we'll take before we're out of this forest. But if we wanted to fight back, we'd be fighting unknown foes in horrible visibility and falling temperatures.
Take 2 of us to secure our route ahead. Keep within 500 meters of us. Report back every minute. I'll watch the rear personally.
No guarantees they're to our rear.
My friends will guard the main group.
Fine, but don't go heavy with your arts. We can't risk you of all people falling.
I understand that. Thank you.
Mudrock?
Swear to me one thing, Chef.
What?
So long as you're in contact with the main group, keep leading them forward. Ignore whatever happens behind you. Never look back. Bob, what kind of place is Columbia? I've heard that the infected are allowed alive so long as they work, so they form low-cost workforce she needs to serve her limitless expansion, and nothing more. Even so, I guess you're all very suited to the work. Is your farm big? Are the wheat fields swept in the autumn winds as beautiful as the movies say? Though it's hard to admit, I've never seen real hops for myself. I've asked a lot of people, and I've even sought out books on botany, so I have an idea of what hops flowers look like. If I find my own calm corner of the world to live in, I'll write to you from there. If I do, could you send me a small sample in return?
What's happening? What's going on? My skin, the crystals are moving. They're moving inside my... Ah! They're trying to use the infected as arts units. They couldn't... They can't. Where the hell are all the casters? These arts. How would someone manage to do this? Where's Mudrock? Is Mudrock still there?
Are you okay?
Keep your distance. They're nearby, I can feel it. It's like witchcraft. No modern arts are like this. They're using the originium inside the infected.
Step out of it. Boulders, find my enemy.
Don't waste the energy, Mudrock. You're still far from returning to the fertile land. You need to live on.
No. Your hand, the crystals piercing your skin, I need to...
The imagination they must have to use infected like this. Those casters, they're terrifying. Mudrock,
I'm here.
take the rest of us and live. To return to Castle. Yes, to return to our home. Our home. Didn't we know deep down we had nothing? Wherever we went, as long as we live on, who cares where we go? Like hell, I'd let the life be my... Like hell, I'd let my life be their weapon. Tell all the others I died fighting.
Wait. Why? No warrior's end should be by his own hands. Come on out here. Come out right now.
Rock echoes the wrathful Sarkas. The Colossus stands tall, stands as if a monument to the deceased. The frigid wind howls through the forest. Figures seem to stand in the far distance, or perhaps they are only broken, shuddering tree trunks. The Colossus flies forth for them.
Bob, sorry for rambling on like this. We've departed Lithanian to return to Kasdel. The journey is long, it may be dangerous. In the short time we had, I could not find a messenger to take this letter for me. If we can make it to Kasdel safely, and the infected who've come with us can settle down, afterwards I might pay a visit to Columbia to see you.
Mudrock, you're okay. The others... Oh. God damn it.
We left a single forest. It costs us half of us to do so.
Mudrock, can we fight back?
Our group has so many civilians still. We can't.
Mudrock?
Is something wrong?
Our pursuers, there might be, something we know about them. They're Virginia arts, taking infected lives as toys. This sort of thing should have long since faded into the past, but a few nobles research it still. They must be attendants of the towers or arts researchers. Damn them. Damn them!
As long as they're not knights, worse has not yet come to worst. Don't worry, at the very least for now, we've escaped them. The way back to Kasdel is a long, long one. So long that I've forgotten how my homeland looks. Kasdel is a desolate barren. Still, some wanderers have taken to the old ruins of bygone wars, founded towns you could call prosperous. Resplendent cities the Sarkas had never been allowed to have, but I'm only asking for somewhere quiet. A place to catch my breath for a while, in the middle of this age-old conflict. Past this mountain, we'll be in Kasdel. From the top we should see a great bridge, and past the river, 100 kilometers north, a village where outsiders have settled.
Is that where we're headed?
Yes. I once lived there.
Modrock, we finished securing our route ahead. No sign of any pursuers.
Good. Let's move. We'll pitch our camp on the other side of the river before sundown.
Modrock! 20 odd of our mercenaries got attacked by that lot. We never even so much as saw their faces.
We can't fight them. Too dangerous. Would you send your people to die like that?
We're sorry, we just... No, I wasn't saying to...
Move. Don't look back. I'll keep the rear.
Modrock?
Sorry, I fell asleep.
You're exhausted. You haven't given your arts any rest since the attack.
I'll be fine.
No one can change your mind. I've learned that much. You know, I'm beginning to miss the good old days, when we were fighting Lithanians we could actually see. The gendarmerie, the armed guards, the militiamen, hell, even the caster regiments.
We did everything we could to avoid conflict with them. After all, they didn't want to risk going down with us.
But ever since last month, things changed. Modrock, promise not to laugh at me, but I'm a little scared.
Casters cloaking their true colors. Fearful arts, completely unable to protect ourselves. Where's the shame in being afraid?
Yeah, you're not wrong for sure. If, and this is only hypothetical, if they were still behind us even now, or suppose they're on the other side of the bridge, what then? Would we have to fight, or...
Casters, with few exceptions, are frail. We are many and strong. They know that all too well. Their arts are strange and powerful. But the strongest caster is still a human. Don't be afraid.
They kept pace with our march in the forest. For a whole month. We never found any of their camps. Never found any of their supply convoys. Never even found a single trace of their movements. Only lone teams, one after another, failing to return contact.
Turning infected into arts units. It's possible, but the concept itself, no, even the raw difficulty would be far too... Ah, I see. They're experimenting.
Huh?
We're the perfect test subjects, an inexhaustible supply of them. From their point of view, that is all we are.
Then who the hell are they?
Good question. Past here we should see the village in the basin. The final stretch, and then we'll be... Wait until the scouts come back, see how things are in the village. Maybe this is where we can start thinking about life afterwards.
Life afterwards? We can finally call an end to our flight? Now we lay down our weapons and begin anew? What kind of life to live, I wonder? Modrock, where are you going?
To take a look from the hilltop.
Alright, stay in contact. We can set off at any time.
Before I left for Lithanian, I had been putting off the question. Was returning to Kasdal truly right? Can a new life happen just like that? What I witnessed in Lithanian taught me many things. There are times when fate, destiny and such become a simple excuse, a byword for all of life's unchanging paths. I only want to live on. I want us all to live on. Kasdal's villages are more prosperous than before. Cooking smoke, wagons, markets. How long has it been since I last saw... Yet some things you cannot run from. Are these... bones?
Modrock?
What?
There's fog again. I don't know if it's just the fog of morning in the mountains or... But either way, everyone's shaken. We need you to calm us all down.
Yes, I can barely see the village from here anymore. Fog has come. Wait until the scouts return, then come to me here.
We're all here.
Do me a favor.
What are... Are these someone's bones? Sarka's remains. They were small. Probably a child. Here is a broken knife. Rusted. This child might have died in battle.
Help me bury them at least.
You could use your arts to...
I want to do it with my own two hands. So lend yours too.
Okay.
Everybody, in front of us is a new life. We've made it back.
A lot of our people sacrificed themselves for this.
Did we lose them?
I don't know.
How's the village?
If I had to say, it's bustling with life. There's a good few Capridae, not to mention a decent amount of Sami people. They've got a marketplace. Some plots of land are up for sale in there. It's an old Sarkas who used to be a mercenary, managing those. Should be able to get along.
I see. Wonderful. We're very close to the village now. From here to there, we should have no trouble. So go and find your new lives.
Madrock? What about all of you?
We need to stay here, see things through to the end.
Yeah, about time we did some mercenary work. Wait, you mean... Go. Don't look back. You brought us all this way back to your homeland just to get yourselves killed now? He's right. I'm just in to help a bunch of old bastards get one over. You're still young. Now's the time to go. Huh? You want me to run? I'd have to twist my own head off for you to kick it if I wanted to look back. But we can't.
We won't look back. All who want to leave can leave now. There is no shame in it. There is no need to blame yourself. We will protect this bridge. Supposing this is all a false alarm and they've long given up, we'll see you in town. Warriors, line up. Eyes forward. We defend this bridge to the death. What makes us think we can escape our cruel fate without a scratch? Do we have the right to do? Do we have the capacity to? We can't escape it, any of us. In the end, we all have to raise our weapons and confront the present we built with our past. How many have stayed?
Why don't you look back for yourself and see?
I'm just a little worried.
Seriously, you... Alright. Someone else then. Hey, count down how many there are for Madrock. Don't mess with me, alright? Didn't I tell you I'd have to twist my head off to look back? You can tell just by the sound of it. Not that many even left.
Thank you. Really? Thank you.
The fog's getting thicker. Captain, should we still keep an eye on them? Those casters with the tall hats seriously made me want to throw up. They used the infected slaves they had with them as their staffs. It looks like the reunion bunch are readying for their last stand. What should we do?
Imagine the twin empresses ascending the throne. It's been decades since the Witch King passed. Lethanian still hosts lunatics who mire themselves in the Witch King's shadow.
Captain, this stuff you talk about always flies over my head. Couldn't you say things a little simpler? Hold on, Captain, where are you going?
To save them.
Whoa, that's simple, alright, but saving Reunion?
I only see a group of Sarkas defending the infected to the end, from casters desecrating life on the whims of rotten nobles.
But you said they were all super powerful, right? At least wait until our team's all together before...
No need. They're no knights and garner no art's favor. They're jesters who flaunt witchcraft about. Rhode Island does not permit the desecration of infected lives. Someone's coming.
Ready.
Hold on. Huh?
Wait, what did they do? There was a single push and Mudrock's Colossus just...
Don't engage. Fall back. That's a Sarkas. And... I've heard of you in Operator Folinix's report. The Sarkas who makes the earth dance. I too am not your enemy. The fog cleared. You're not a Lithanian. You give off a very unusual feeling, and you're so young. Who are you? Only a Rhode Island operator. Only of a kind with you. A Sarkas. Call me Logos, if you wish. Bob, how have you been? This letter is sent to you from the care of my new employer. I suppose sending a second letter without waiting for a reply might confuse things. To tell the truth, the people I mentioned in my last letter may not have the chance to meet you again. But there's no need to mourn. They fought to protect innocent infected. As Sarkas mercenaries, they never thought they'd get to die so nobly. Maybe death can't be defined in terms of how noble it was, but the people who live on have no doubt in their minds. They died with honor. We are not currently in Kasdel. For some reason or another, the moment we were about to make it, we looked back. Maybe it was my hesitation that let so many of my people die, or maybe their deaths were a reminder that fate follows as close as my shadow. None of us can escape it. And so I decided to resist. Maybe I want to fight against every injustice in this world. Maybe I just want my friends to be able to live on. I haven't sorted it all out yet, but we must walk forward. Only then can I shoulder all my past wrongs. And then can I let so many more people who needed not die, live on. Oh, before I forget, I've heard a few things about you here, from a girl named Granny. I couldn't find a home for my people like you did. I couldn't hold a candle to you. That's my shame. Live on well, Bob. Maybe one day, far in the future, I'll be able to see you and your people in Columbia.
And that is our first story. Like I said, I will leave a link for Twilight of Volumunda in the description of this video if you wanna go and listen to that story. And yes, there at the final end, she does mention also Granny and the events through which Granny went in Granny and the Knight's Treasure. Again, it is not spoiling any of the stories that are being mentioned, very, very lovely at least. Also, Logos makes an appearance here for the first time. Appearance in quotes, we don't actually get to see him, but it is Logos who finds Mudrock, makes contact, and brings them to Rhode Island. I will say, however, for people who do know where Logos will eventually appear and in which story he will appear, please do not spoil anything in the comments if you do comment on Logos at any point in the comment section of this video, considering that, yes, Logos, where he appears and what he does, is obviously a major spoiler for certain other parts of the storytelling of Arknights, so keep it calm. keep it calm. But yeah, this is an appearance of Logos, technically. Anyway, we shall continue with our next story, called A Song Called April. So let's begin.
Phew, that mission got me all sweaty. I'd better hurry home and shower. Oh, who's that over there?
Alright, that's the letter and every last cent accounted for.
Thanks a lot.
Huh, don't worry about it. You're a very good customer. Pretty much your whole family knows me by now. But you haven't been back in a while, huh? Why not take a trip home? Your uncle's gonna ask me to drag you back to Rimbilliton as soon as he sees me. Not that I'm one to talk, the way I've been running around for a year and a change, but you know, all the letters in the world can't compare with you going home in person.
I know. It's just there's still patients here who need me. When I have some free time, I'll go back.
Well, I think you've got a handle on it, so I'll leave it here for now. Anyway, I'll check over the letters again and then head out. Need any goodies, or just the usual?
Yes, get a box of those peppermint candies from the shop below my home.
Sure.
Sorry, Uncle. So they've got messengers at Rhode Island too. Have you been introduced? I'm new here, codename's April, but you can call me April. Nice to meet you, April. I'm Ansel, from Medical. There are a lot of messengers at Rhode Island, and messengers like the one just now aren't our operators. They're messengers who exclusively serve as Rhode Islanders. What's the difference? We have some messengers who do become operators. Oh, like Angelina. Do you know her? Yeah, she's a messenger girl about my age. Right, a lot of messengers get sick and end up working for us as operators to offset the cost of treatment. That's what happened with Angelina. Oh, me too! Yes, so you know the cost of a ripathy treatment, is by no means low. There are all kinds of people from all walks of life here on the ship, for more or less the same reasons. Isn't it pretty much the same as becoming a messenger here, though? Guess it is kind of confusing, but no. Because messenger work doesn't involve much contact with other people, and you're always traveling all around. You can still do it even after becoming infected. Basically, most people aren't going to know if the person bringing them their mail is infected or not. The point is they keep doing their work as they always... they keep doing their work same as they always were, as long as they come to Rhode Island for regular treatment. Huh, so they can just like do their own thing? Exactly. We usually give operators like that some long-term fieldwork missions. And they tend to use Rhode Island as a way station for their work. And if they happen to be going near some friends or relatives of our operators, we'll usually ask them to bring a letter or something. But for someone like me who writes home regularly, I need something more predictable. With very few messengers from Rimbilliton and Rhode Island right now. Whew, it all feels so loose. I couldn't imagine anything like that at my old company. Anything like what? The employees having so much freedom. There must be some folks who come by once and never come back, right? You're a sharp one. That does happen sometimes, and we do follow up on it. But no matter what, you can't leave a patient unattended. You're a real good person, Dr. Ansel. Thanks, I'm just here to help people. But that means Rhode Island definitely needs some dedicated messengers. I never thought about this stuff before. Say, April, you're from Rimbilliton too, aren't you? Yep, I'm from the south side of Iron Carrot City. Oh, I know that place. Your hometown always tops the annual charts in ore production. Yeah, that's home. We're supposed to be really proud of that productivity, but I can't say it does much for me. I'm from Iron Fist City. Do you have any relatives back home you need to contact? Nope. My parents died in a mine accident when I was little. The company raised me. When I grew up, I worked for them as a hunter. It didn't pay great, but I got by until I caught a ripathy. I'm sorry. Nah, it's fine. I've heard that Rimbiliton's companies actually treat the infected pretty decently. Because of how important the mining industry is, people back home end up coming into contact with fluoripathy a lot more than in other countries. That's what I thought at first, but after living through it, I was so wrong. They like to talk about all the benefits they offer, but down in the fine print they have all kinds of deductibles and copies. And once they know you've got oripathy, you'll suddenly find all your work drying up. Oripathy sufferers on their own, like me, just can't survive. Oh, I had no idea. No wonder so many of my old workmates who caught oripathy just disappeared. Anyway, I lost my company ID and the lease on my room, so there's nothing for me back in Rimbiliton anymore. Hey now, don't you give me that look, Dr. Ansel. I can't stand pity. I made it to Rhode Island, didn't I? I guess you did. Anyways, I thought you looked kind of sad when you were sending that letter. Did something happen? Oh, but you don't have to tell me if it isn't something really personal, and I won't tell anyone either. April, did you have lunch yet? No, I just got back from a mission. I was about to take a shower. Let me buy you lunch. This is a pretty long story. Huh? Oh, okay. Wow, Dr. Ansel, you sure eat healthy. It comes with the job, I guess, and you can drop the doctor. Just Ansel is fine. We're pretty much the same age, right? Okay. Eat up first. We'll go into it after we've taken the edge off. Sure. I always say I wish I could see my family, but the truth is I don't really want to go back. Why? There's some stuff I don't want to deal with. I have 3 older brothers and 1 baby sister. My parents are long gone. Mom to lung disease, dad overwork. But I had it better than you. By the time they went, my brothers were old enough to work. I was the only one still too young, so when he died, my dad had me sent to live with my uncle, his older brother. My sister went to his younger brother. Yeah, that happens a lot. If I had any relatives, I'd have ended up like that. My dad once told me all our relatives went to other cities. So you don't want to go back because your uncle was bad to you? No, my uncle was a manager at a small company. He was serious and strict, but he treated me well. Really, just like his own son. It's just... he didn't want me to become a doctor. Oh! When I was little, I helped out at Uncle's company. He was grooming me to take over his job. I didn't listen to him. I decided to become a doctor and went far away to Rhode Island. Whoa, so you're a runaway, Ansel? No, I wouldn't go that far. There was some time between my decision to study medicine and me actually coming to Rhode Island. I talked it over with Uncle many times. Sometimes our conversations got pretty heated. But in the end, he respected my choice and agreed I could become a doctor. I get where he's coming from. I never got the impression it was easy to practice medicine in Rimbiliton. Right, first it's tough to get started, then it's tough to keep going. A lot of mind doctors only have the most basic medical training. It definitely wouldn't be as stable a life as working for Uncle's company, and it'd be hard to find a job. I seriously considered going with his plan. It really isn't a bad place to work. And he did so much for me, I felt like I couldn't let him down. Sure, that makes sense, but everyone has a dream. It sounds like your uncle is a really good bloke, though. If my mom and dad were still around, I don't think they'd be okay with something like that. Right, and in the end I followed through on my decision. But Uncle isn't the type to keep his feelings bottled up inside. He's been with the company for half his life, and he still hopes I'll go back to continue his work someday. I've been back twice, and it's always hard. And my brothers are even more opposed to what I do, but I send them money so they keep their mouths shut. But my sister, on the other hand, is pretty supportive. I can't really relate to any of that. Let's just say everybody's got baggage. I think I'm doing the right thing, and Rhode Island treats me well. But it is what it is. There's nothing I can do to change how Uncle feels. I can only work harder and do better for myself and my own goals. And one day I'll be able to go back, puff out my chest and say, "Look, Uncle, see how many people I've saved? I made a huge contribution to the fight against the Ripathy." But I guess, then I'll probably be brave enough to just face him anyway. "Soft and weak as you look, Ansel, who would have thought you'd got all this going on?" I can't tell if that's supposed to be a compliment. "Of course it is." Alright then. "But it sounds like you actually do want to go back home?" "I guess I do. Going around the world with Rhodalan is a great way to broaden your horizons, but no matter what happens, Rimbilliton is still my home. I miss the giant smokestacks, the din of machinery, the miners and their work chants, the noisy streets. Maybe someday I'll leave Rhodalan and head back home to practice medicine." "Oh." "What is it?" "Nothing. I was just thinking about how, even though I say I don't miss Rimbilliton at all, I don't know if maybe I would go back. Ansel, do you know where my code name comes from?" April is like a month, fourth one on the calendar.
"Yes, but also no. It's the name of a song about spring. I never felt like I liked Rimbilliton. I don't like any of the stuff you've been talking about. My memories of home are all dark and dusty. I feel like I can barely breathe when I remember them. Life wasn't easy even before I got the Ripathy. I had to show up to the office every day and then go off with the team whenever they had a job. I made some money, but it was real hard out there. A 10-day trip was common, and sometimes we'd even be gone for a month or two. And it's not like there was much to do when we didn't have a job either. The bands I liked were in other countries, and cosmetics would only show up in magazines. With all the factories polluting the air, I had to put so much into my skincare routine. Those factories, even just the streets, were so noisy, they'd wake me up in the middle of the night. And would you believe my apartment was so lousy, I'd run out of water right in the middle of a shower sometimes?"
Those don't sound like good memories.
"But when I really think about it, there were good times too. It was ruthless. It was a ruthless, cutthroat company for sure, but they took care of me for years. I don't know what the upper management was like, but I remember when I went to the office to talk about my benefits, the people there definitely weren't happy about what they had to do. My neighbors had their issues, but they still helped me. Old man Parrot upstairs was always so mean to everyone, but he started giving me food after he found out I was sick. Oh, but old Mrs. Lolo downstairs was the worst. She spat whenever she saw me. The supermarket down there had all kinds of good stuff on rotation too. Speaking of, I don't think I've ever seen meatballs like that anywhere else. Those were super tasty. And of course, the time I spent with Mom and Dad when I was little was real happy. I know what's going on here. I'm just getting a strong hint of nostalgia."
Maybe. But still, I think we can never really abandon our roots. When I came to Rhodalan, I learned how vast our world is, and all of the wonderful ways we can live a life. I've thought about trying another life for myself, like becoming a vanguard operator or a caster, or going into civilian work. And I could just choose a new life for myself. No one would stop me. But in the end, I decided to keep on practicing medicine. I was born in Rimbilliton and I grew up among the workers. Unless I suddenly woke up with amnesia someday, there's no way I could deny my past.
Speaking of amnesia, did I hear the doctor has it?
Oh, yes, that's no secret.
Going with what you said earlier, do you think the doctor could choose a new life?
I think that would be pretty hard. I don't know the doctor's past, but Amia, Dr. Kaltzit, and lots of others do. I think a lot of the things the doctor does are not exactly done by choice. So I guess that means even if you do lose your memory, you're still stuck with your past.
Yeah, how did we get here from talking about hometowns? Anyway, your hometown is definitely the most important part of your past.
Right, but it's not really the town itself that matters. It's the mark left on you by the time you spent there. I could have given up that mark, but I decided to hold on to it. What about you?
Me? I don't know. I never thought about it before.
Doesn't matter. We're still young. We got a lot of time to figure that one out.
But I guess I didn't leave Reimbilliton to get away from that life, at least. If I could have kept on living there, I probably would have. I just didn't have a choice. I suffered a lot after I became infected, yeah, but I can't keep on hating people and saying stuff like, I hate Reimbilliton.
That's totally normal. When someone gets infected, his whole worldview doesn't turn on a dime. You'll have a better understanding after you live at Rhode Island for a while. At least for now, we can keep talking about home and our past.
Right, well, I guess I have to admit, I'm the accepting type, huh? I probably won't say I like Reimbilliton, but I can say I like Iron Carrot City. I'll never forget how, whenever I was feeling down, I'd head up to the roof of my apartment building. It wasn't that tall. There were others, taller ones around. And I'd feel fenced out, trapped by those tall buildings around me, like the piece of sky straight up above me was all I could see. But it was also kind of reassuring, because I don't need a lot of space. I don't like having too many choices. A little coziness is just right for me. I'd look around and see what the neighbors were doing. Sometimes I'd see something fun, sometimes I wouldn't, but it didn't matter. Then I'd lie down in the middle of the rooftop, put on my headphones and play my favorite song, April. I'd think about whatever and take a nice nap. By the time I woke up, most of my worries would be gone.
Sounds great.
It was. I wish I could find a place like that here, but the Rhode Island deck is just too wide and open for me.
I'll point you towards an operator named Cruz. She's got a lot of experience finding places to slack off.
Really? That'd be great. I'll go and find her in a bit. But after that, I do kind of feel like I want to go back home. It's your fault.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'll set it aside for now. I'm still new here. I can't go taking a vacation right away. Oh, I know. Is that messenger you hired to send your letter gone yet?
Probably not. I think he's here until tomorrow.
Great, I'll go and get him. Mr. Messenger, you're going to Reimbilliton, right?
Sure am, little Cotters. Do you want to send something?
April's fine, but it's not a letter. I was hoping you could do something for me.
What?
When you're in Reimbilliton, could you please go to the top of a tall building and take a picture of the view up there?
Huh? That's kind of a weird request. But it doesn't sound hard. I could probably do that.
Oh, thank you so much. My hometown, my past. Turns out I care more than I thought I did. Well, anyway, what really matters now is meeting that cruise girl. Finding a nice place to nap is a much more realistic goal than going home.
And then there were two of those. Oh boy. Anyway, for more stuff on April, April did have a operator record not too long ago, if I remember correctly. It is uploaded on the channel. I will leave a link for it in the description of this video. However, the operator records on the channel are not narrated, so you will have to read it yourself. Apologies. But anyway, let's continue to our third story of today, Crisscrossing Shadows. Mesdames and Messieurs, we thank you for coming tonight. Let us give our eyes and ears to the troupe's latest production. We guarantee you won't see tonight's show anywhere else. It's a one-of-a-kind exclusive to the last. Your bliss to know here and here alone. Now, cleanse your sight, sharpen your keen hearing, and enjoy the wonderful evening ahead. Welcome all to the Crimson Troop. Phantom quietly singing. Answer: the shadow in the dark.
Who is it who calls to me in this dead of night? It is time. I must prepare to take the stage.
Answer: the shadow in the dark. The killer on the stage.
Who is it that speaks? Who is it that sings?
Answer: your darkness is asking.
The curtains are drawn, the lights cast, the performers stand at center stage. But what sound is this? Who is it that waits? Who is it that applauds?
But
In the fact, who are you?
who are you? The shadow in the dark.
Who am I? I am the wraith in the dead of night, the apparition behind the curtain, the star upon the stage. I am...
I know who you are. We all know. You conceal yourself in a wretched room. You cower at the end of the long table. You force yourself into those demonic words and Stygian scripts. Sing with us. We miss nary a rehearsal. You sing well.
Who are you? You are not the actors in this play. Why do you yet appear here? You recognize me.
You ask who we are. You don't even recognize us. How could you forget? How dare you forget? The devil chooses you. Teaches you the music, teaches you the lines, teaches you the taste of the stage. You cling to a demon. You give chase to where the devils lead. And yet, at the end, you desert. You killed the devil. You left this place. And now you would forget us in all. Do you truly believe you can kill the devil?
It is not so. I have forgotten nothing. I have already killed them all to the last. They were wrong in their ways. It was wrong to indulge, wrong to give chase, wrong to find beauty. I had to kill them off. I had to do so.
And so you did. And so you did. You stole our breaths too. It was on this stage that you began to sing.
It was. I have long since slain you all, so why would you yet appear here?
It has been a while, dear brother of ours. Together we left our birthplace. Together we came of age. We were relatives of different blood. We ate as one, lived as one, yet saw not the same ending. It has been an entire eternity since I have spoken to you, since the candle melted away, since my blood dripped with the candle upon the stage. Since then, have we not spoken? We differ from you. A performer unable to know the true taste of art is but a failed, rejected article. Only the love, none of the guilt. While some throw themselves upon the flame, some fly away. And some yet stay here in the bygone past, in that night. There the sound of singing arises and never ceases. And our time is up. We mere apparitions of the past, we could never linger too long here. We should never have been on this stage.
Wait, don't leave. My throat.
How heart-wrenching, Midnight Wraith, unable to discern yourself, the pride of your song. What is there that remains of you? You wish to escape this place. You think you can do it this eve? You should never have spoken. You should never have sung. You should never have been on this stage. Answer. The shadow in the dark. Answer. Who are you? Who you are. And what you really desire. Madame and Monsieur, the curtain has fallen. Best wishes, and to each and all, a wondrous night. Who am I? What I desire. (8:10 a.m.) Overcast, rain. Rhode Island Landship, 2nd floor, Human Resource Department.
All operators in this group should be accounted for here. 1, 2, 3. Good. We're all right. This one's a previous number. Someone must have got it mixed up with this batch. Who did these papers? Gotta be pretty careless to mix up whole groups. Phantom? Who's that? I don't remember any operator by that name. Huh. And why is a part of the file missing? Weird. What's going on here?
Already used to life aboard the ship?
Yes. There are parts I'm still not fully clear, but Skyfire has been helping me a lot throughout. Don't worry. Oh, that's right, Doctor. I've read the operator's manual Skyfire gave to me front to back. It's got all sorts of interesting notes in it, and the writing is clear as crystal. It's honestly a joy to read. Who's the author? I have to know. They're amazing. Oh, and the canteen food is delicious. Skyfire said I've gained plenty enough weight, and she forced this pamphlet on me from Miss Hibiscus's health meals. And she's not hiding the fact she eats just as well too.
Be glad she gave you hibiscus. Wait, no, never mind. Run away. I was thinking about someone else for a second. Run away. Don't.
And also, oh, sorry, Doctor. Have I been talking too much?
Not at all. Seeing you take so well to things makes me happy.
Everyone here's so kind. They all take care of me so well too. It makes me very happy. The sooner I become more reliable, the better. I'd like nothing more than to be able to help out with everyone. Oh, someone's here.
Come in.
Sorry to interrupt, Doctor. There's a file that needs checking over. Do you have the time right now? Dr. Kalsid and Amia both said I should come here to ask you about this.
Let me have a look. She hands the file materials over to the doctor.
This file here. The records pertaining to Operator Phantom's background are incomplete. Plenty of information's just missing. I don't know who was previously responsible. They didn't even fill in their name for it on HR's table. Likely they were swept up in work and plain forgot. We've had a lot of newcomers in recently, so it's the perfect time to get all our data on all our operators sorted. Plenty of omissions like this coming to light, honestly. It's nothing glaringly huge, but we've got to get it up to scratch. Same as everything else. Sounds like you're having a tough time. If you need anything, I can help too. What's your name? Nice to meet you. I'm a new caster operator, codename Mint. Ah, I remember you. You're the new girl that got separated during the last mission, right? I swear, Miss Skyfire was this close to exploding. I'm so sorry about that, and for all the trouble I caused. She must be angry with me. She was lecturing me non-stop afterwards. Oh, no, not with you. She was upset with herself because she wasn't watching her own back properly. At least that's what she said. Huh? So she wasn't... I know. There's times Miss Skyfire can be pretty strict with other operators, right? But she's much stricter with herself, really. Take last time as proof. She'll reflect on herself first before she starts grumbling to anyone else. and you can't blame her, really. Once you've seen her, pitting herself against her own standards, upset herself for falling so visibly and palpably short, getting chewed out by her from time to time doesn't feel so rough. You're right. That's how she really is. I admire her a lot for that. I can tell. Anyway, thanks for offering to help. We've definitely taken on a lot of fresh blood in a short time. Whether it's us medical or logistics, we're all a little swamped. Oh, right, Operator Phantom's file. Circling back to that, we've got a decent amount of operator files in incomplete states in general. Standard protocol for small questions is we'd find the person themselves and ask directly. But Operator Phantom's kind of tricky in this regard. I'm gonna put it straight. We can barely figure out where he is. Is he not on the ship right now? No, our mission records say he's not out in the field for anything. Operator Phantom seems to be deliberately avoiding people, and in his arts, and we've had our work cut out finding him. We could lie in wait in places or ask Miss Closure for help, but we just can't spare a single person, and waiting's not an option. And as for the latter, well, I heard he caused some trouble when he joined us, and now Miss Closure's pissed off with him. So we'd probably be telling her this is your chance to give him a public execution, right? It's hard to even guess what would happen afterwards. This definitely sounds tricky. Are Mr. Phantom's Originium arts similar to Mr. Ethan's, or wait, let me look at the manual. Right, like Miss Manticore's? She has the ability to hide where she is too, doesn't she? Yep, I remember when she signed on, it was just as much of an effort back to get her records filled out. All you had to do was blink and she'd slip away unnoticed. That was a whole thing to deal with.
She might be in this room with us right now.
What? Miss Manticore's in here? Really, Doctor? You're kidding, right? Really, Doctor? You can't just joke like that. Miss Manticore's case was more helplessness. I get the feeling that Operator Phantom's just using his Originium arts to dodge us on purpose. Is that so? Dr. Kaltzedenamia said we could ask you to help us with this. Do you have any good ideas, Doctor?
It's not like there isn't a way.
You mean it? Great. What should we do to find him then?
At times like this, we seek the Madam's opinion.
The Madam? Doctor, do you mean...
It's that dream. The stage that night and those people. No. That night nothing of the sort happened. Everything was perfect. They couldn't ever appear again. They shouldn't ever appear again. Spirits have long since laid you to rest. The endless river runs, and to my ears its babble is as song. It washes forth, so leaves me, flows away to endless far. Or perhaps they never really left. The sound of footfall, the sound of... So it was you, Miss Christina. Miss Christine. Christina? Why do I go... By the way, I never understand why. Maybe it's because it sounds so similar. I always go to Catherine instead of Christine. For some stupid reason. I don't know why. And I hope I'm not the only one. Anyway. What is it? You seem in a good mood. More meowing? No, I'm fine. You oughtn't worry, I'm used to it. Those apparitions are forever in the corners of my sight.
Of course, I'm well aware we have other guests. Doctor.
Good morning.
Rainy day. I fear it's not too good a morning. There are others beside you as well. 2 stranger footfalls, one a little airier, the other heavy.
Oh, I've been made. That's incredible. I was making so sure to tiptoe all carefully. Scarily acute sense of hearing. Wait, heavy means me? I guess I have put on a little weight recently. I feel he didn't specifically mean you, your actual weight.
Go on then. What might you need from me? Need me for? Miss Christine rarely brings guests. It seems you've gained her favor.
I'm honored. More meowing?
Miss Christine expresses her approval.
Anyhow, the important thing is we're finally face to face. Nice to meet you, Operator Phantom.
And you are?
I'm from the HR department. There's a file of yours with an incomplete section. We only have a few questions, just so we can check our knowledge from the top.
File? I understand. What would Rhode Island like to know?
Thank you for your cooperation. Don't worry, you'll need to answer... all you need to answer is a few simple questions. Before that, allow me to just quickly confirm your Originium Arts control capacity. Have you noticed any issues with your specialized monitoring equipment, Mr. Phantom? Particularly in day-to-day moments, for example like our current conversation? Any tendencies for your arts to take effect in a manner that exceeds your control? Based on your feedback, Mr. Phantom, the techs can make the necessary follow-up adjustments to your equipment's respective functionality for you.
No need. It does plenty enough for now. Its suppression of the crystal growth is very much appreciated, as are its adjustments of frequency and amplitude. So long as syllables don't form melodies, there are no problems. I thank you greatly.
No worries. Supporting operators in controlling their arts is one part of what we do. If there's no problem, that's good. Alright, moving on. Your place of birth, Mr. Phantom. Last time we entered your data, according to you, your place of birth was in...
And I have no idea how this is supposed to be pronounced. Never heard, could not find, so Calablason? Salablason? Whatever.
Calablason in West Victoria. Calablason?
Correct.
Well, that's strange. Based on the info you gave us, we sent someone from our Victorian branch to the local area to verify, and reality seems to be at odds with what you've told us, Mr. Phantom.
Oh, wait. Wait, could it be...
The stage draws to a close. Out from its drapery seeps blood. Fresh flowers lie trampled on the ground. What's wrong? Something sounds with a crack. A dinner-time glass. Paint begins to flake off the cabinet door. The people on the street side laugh. A tomato drops to the ground. A flower is trodden on. The wind makes the piano resonate. Hot and stifling, the stage lifting pierces through black cloth. The audience at the roadside applauds. Who is it in the alley? What's wrong? What's wrong? Who is it laughing?
Calablason, could it be that it doesn't even exist?
Correct. Investigation couldn't find any nomadic city with a similar name, nor any area. Mr. Phantom, I should remind you that if you don't want your place of birth to be known, you have other options. Applying for temporary confidentiality or a requisite level of access authority are both possible. But if you're going to lie about the most basic things, then that's a completely different matter. We give our operators the room to conceal, keep confidential, or refuse explicitly to provide some information. But lying, that doesn't help either of us to build trust in the other in any way at all. Do you understand that?
I wasn't lying.
What?
When you were registering me, I spoke the truth. I didn't even think to lie. The person who gave me a home in times past once told me that that was where I was born. So they said that our village was razed by a catastrophe, that the fields were engulfed by war's flames, that the ever-traveling troop was passing by, that in the stead of each home the children had lost, the troop took them in. That far as we followed with the troop, that after we followed with the troop, we left and we never once returned. Apart from this singular name, I know nothing about the land it was.
This is really, really weird. What's even going on here? Could it be your guardians had made a mistake? Or you might have remembered something wrong, Mr. Phantom?
Maybe it's just a mistake.
Yeah, we'll just have to leave it like this for now. Provided there is no intentional falsification going on, we can flag up basic information as a special procedure, and then freely supplement or modify later as needed. Oh, you can do that? I'd always been under the impression that no matter where you go, they'd be strict all the time about files like this. Universities in Victoria are like that. If there's any sort of problem with your files, in the most serious cases, they'll probably suspend you. Broadly speaking, yeah, it's a pretty strict matter. But a lot of Rhode Island people are out of the ordinary. There is no practical, clear-cut blanket to us. Take Cora's case. She really doesn't remember anything at all, and we've turned up short on any way to help her with that. And there's a couple of operators with very unique circumstances. Once we've determined that they won't jeopardize Rhode Island, we can bend the rules a little as needed.
I apologize.
Huh? Oh, no, no worries. If what you just said is true, then it's not even exactly your fault, Mr. Phantom. In any case, we can try to look for it again later. If we still don't get anything after that, I'll report the whole truth of it upstairs and leave the judgment to them. But don't let it wait on you. Amiya never really lets this clerical stuff cloud her head. Let me see what else there is. Ah, right. Can I ask what your motivation for joining Rhode Island is? It's just a question I have to ask. Given you're infected, I assume it's for treating a ripophy?
No.
Huh? It's not?
I'm looking for someone.
For whom? Is this an operator of ours?
I can't be sure. I'm looking for someone. There is something I need to find out, for which I need to find the person who knows. These ghosts from the past stood on the street corner behind the window by my side. Those things, I have to free myself from them. Only when I know what the truth of their passing was, only then can I lay them to rest, once and for all.
What could you be talking about? For that matter, how can you be so sure the person you're looking for is here in Rhode Island?
I heard music. I heard a voice. The voice told me to come here, for here I could find the trail I needed. The answer was in this place.
Doctor, is Operator Phantom really doing alright? He makes me feel like he's anything but alright. Are you sure he doesn't need another checkup with medical? Neuropathy can affect your auditory senses, and it can even encroach on nervous and cognitive function. Mr. Phantom might have something like that.
I don't think his situation is entirely because of neuropathy. What are you talking about? Nothing. Right, I've been meaning to ask from the start. What is it? The clothes on your wardrobe door are very eye-catching. An old costume? What did you say? Wardrobe? I have no... These clothes are... Why? Since when? They should not be here. Bouquets forced into a cupboard. Dark grey clouds. Some men call them sprouting eyes, thawing, melting leaves. You are flanked by seats. Applause thunders. The people on the street side cheer. A refuse bin stands and breaks into dance. Who is it that sings? Who is it that sings? Who is it that sings? Out from those clothes seep red, and flowers are trampled on the ground. There is no one in the seats. No one on the street side.
Calablason. It's so strange. I feel like I've heard that name for a place somewhere before. Where does it come from? Oh, I can't remember at all. Oh, forget it. I'll go borrow some books and see if I can find anything there.
Hey there. Oh, my bad. Did I just scare you? You're a new operator, I think. Got any troubles, or...?
Sorry about that. It's not your fault, just my overreaction. There's just this question I can't figure out, and it's got me a little lost.
Is it anything I can help you with? No need to be reserved about it. Call it my apology for frightening you. I'll listen to what's on your mind if you want. If I can help with any of it, that's all the better.
Thank you. You're such a nice person. Everyone at Rhode Island really is so kind.
Much appreciated. What were you saying before about something you couldn't remember?
So you heard that. I was thinking about the name of a place. Calablason. It gives me the nagging feeling I've heard it before, but I just can't think of where. Have you heard of any place like that before?
That is familiar. I never thought I'd heard that name again.
Oh, you know of it?
Of course I know it. Long ago I used to live there. I heard someone mouthing off about its name, saying it's not one people ever mention anymore. How you only remember if you should have been buried long ago in the rotting ruins of the past. That person and that mouth are both rotting in the past, if you ask me. No, my bad. That was neither here nor there. Do you have time for a story? I've got one to tell. It's about Calablason and about its people. About a group of children who lost their shelter and about the traveling troupe passing by that little village. I can tell you every last bit. Let's go somewhere a little quieter first, though. It might be a very long story. So, as a quick side note, because I'm not sure if it's confirmable or not, or if it's up to speculation, the impression I did there at the end for the person that is not showing up is pretty much just an impression of an operator that we get from IS2. So I was wondering, because I reread this obviously before this recording, is this guy supposed to be Shalem that is talking there to Mint at the end? Because he does obviously appear and is kind of the, next to Phantom, central figure of IS2 as he's being sent to save his sorry ass. So I was kind of wondering, is that it? Is that the reason? Is he the reason why Phantom stopped by Rhode Island? Because I completely, by the way, it's been years since I obviously read this originally. I completely forgot that Phantom's reasoning for coming to Rhode Island is because he heard a song, or a melody rather, and that drew him in. So something told him to come to Rhode Island, that he would find answers. But was that Shalem? I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me. I would be appreciated if someone actually knows. Anyway, let us end today's narration with the final story. Oh, before we continue, pardon. Phantom obviously has an operator record as well. I will put a, again, link to his operator record in the description of the video. And if you want more on Phantom, I did a long while ago, at this point, a narration for his module, plus his entire file if you want to know more. But anyway, let's go to our final story, Stories from the Sky. And before we begin, I will absolutely apologize. This is gonna be a thing. Oh boy. Anyway, let us begin.
What is it, Morte?
Pardon? Morte lies limply on the sofa.
You're still hungry? Today is a holiday, everyone's having fun. Even the evil spirits are hiding. I saw so many people crying while I got my food at the banquet. Can't you eat those?
Uh-huh.
Maybe you're getting picky. This morning the doctor told me there would be a banquet here. There would be food, friends, and all kinds of things we don't usually get. You're asking me if I'm happy? I don't understand. The emotions in this place are too strange. They've been so rich lately. I don't understand some of them. Like what we saw just now, laughing and drinking. Talking for a while, then unstoppable tears. Laughing and crying. The combination of joy and sadness makes my head hurt. This is also the only thing I understand. Morte wouldn't like those emotions. Another rip. Okay, it's not that bad. Get some apples for me. I'll get the other materials. Go on, don't let the stuffing in your tummy fall out. Don't wave your knives around either. Doctor will get mad.
Morte nods.
Go on.
Am I disturbing you, Shamare?
What's wrong?
I just saw you writing for a long time without actually writing anything, so I got curious.
Oh.
Am I bothering you, your work? I'm sorry. Well, I just finished eating and wanted to read here. May I?
Go ahead.
Thanks, Shamare. Ew, I should be able to let down all my tails on this big sofa. Alright. Ah, that's better. Whew.
You're back?
Shamara whispering.
Morte, give an apple to Suzerain.
Morte nods.
Morte? Is this for me? Thank you, Shamare. Thank you, Morte. It's sweet. It's sweet and sour. The temperature is just right. A little cold, but not cold enough to hurt my teeth. So happy. I should keep the apple core and find a rubbish bin later. Morte, are you going to pitch it for me? Okay, here. Thank you. Shamare, aren't you eating?
Later.
Oh, I won't bother you then. I'll be reading here. Last time I got to... Here. Dusk Beauty Flying to the Moon. Once upon a time, there was a gentle and kind girl named Dusk Beauty who lived in Yan.
Suzerain continues to diligently read the story, one word at a time. Shamara puts her pen down.
Morte, apple.
She slowly gnaws on the apple.
To commemorate the distant Dusk Beauty, on the same day every year, people would offer up her favorite food. As time passed, this day became an important festival in Yan. So that's where it comes from. Popcar and Miss Mouse? Hiya.
Hello, Suzerain.
Why are you all here and not at a banquet? There's a lot of delicious food from Yan there.
I'm already full. I saw Suzerain telling stories on my way back to the dorm, so I came over to listen. I'm also here to hear the story, and also to look after the kitties. They're getting rambunctious.
Kitties?
They're over there.
There? Shamare? Ah, it's true! The kitties really like Shamare and Morte.
A lot of meowing and purring. Popcar tugs on Suzerain's sleeve.
That story just now, could you tell it again, Suzerain? I came late and missed some of it. Me too.
Ah, okay. It might take a long time to read the whole thing again, so I'll summarize.
The light! Sorry.
This is a fairy tale from Yan. The protagonist is a young girl named Dusk Beauty. She was living a happy life with her husband, until one day her husband went missing.
She must have been very sad.
Yes, the book says Dusk Beauty searched everywhere for her husband, but no one knew where he was. She went home and cried under the willow tree her husband had planted himself. A wise elder in the village saw Dusk Beauty weeping every day and came up with an idea. The old man said, Child, you have a pair of sharp eyes that can see thousands of miles away. Why not ascend the mountain to the west? From there you can gaze upon the wide earth. Only there will you have a chance to find your husband. Dusk Beauty agreed with the wise elder's suggestion and decided to leave the town and head to the mountain at the edge of the land. This mountain, the tallest of them all, was called Mount Tien by the people of Yan. That sounds so cool. The meaning of Mount Sky is a mountain as tall as the skies. There is no mountain taller than it in all of Yan. After much tribulation, Dusk Beauty reached the mountain peak and looked out over the vast land. But after 3 days and 3 nights, even as her eyes reddened from the strain, there was no sign of her husband. With years of her effort ending up fruitless, Dusk Beauty could not help but weep, and her tears flowing down the mountain formed a river. How sad. Mom said I was like that when I cried as a kid. The surging tears shocked the gods within the mountains. They couldn't believe the river which had appeared out of nowhere. Upon seeing the source of the river, they were even more surprised. The gods decided to send their leader, the god of Mount Sky, to talk with the girl. The kind god listened to Dusk Beauty's story and pitied her. Thus the god of Mount Sky said, "Lofty heights of Mount Sky, lie yet dwarfed by the twin moons. Ascend thee to the moons, and thy husband shall thee find soon." Huh? Oh, sorry. It's sort of poetic and old-timey, isn't it? Let me explain. It means that even though the mountain was very tall, its height could not compare to the twin moons in the sky. So if she could fly to the moons, she would definitely be able to find her husband. Oh. Dusk Beauty accepted the mountain god's suggestion and asked for help. After the gods discussed it, they thought her away. One night, everyone was going about their business as usual when suddenly a bright light rose from the western mountains and rushed towards the moon. This light became brighter and brighter, brighter and brighter, and at one point it even became lighter than the moon, brighter than the moon. Finally, this light landed on the moon, and a big and brilliant sparkle rose out of it. The night sky grew bright, and it was hard to even see the stars.
Bobcar whispering to Mouse.
Mouse, can we see fireworks like that now? Of course not. Upon seeing such a thing, everyone panicked, thinking it meant something terrible. But the elder recalled the story of Dusk Beauty and told everyone this meant she had found her husband. He told them not to be afraid and to celebrate instead. The people were convinced, so they brought out their wine and food and celebrated the departure of Dusk Beauty. From then on, everyone would bring food and gather together to feast once a year. They put the food that Dusk Beauty liked on an altar. They did it every year without fail. As time passed, it became a traditional festival. Even after Dusk Beauty left, the river continued to flow down from Mount Sky, so the people decided to name the river after her, calling it the Dusk River. Later on, the village slowly developed into a city. The edge of the city was next to the Dusk River, so naturally, the city was called Dusk City. Is that why there's so much yummy food today? That's right. Actually, today is the day of a Higashi festival as well. The shrines will be very busy today. That's always swamped the whole day. Though the most lively shrine is always Miss Tsukinogi's shrine, they say the god of her shrine is the chief god, so they have a huge festival with a lot of people. People from all over Higashi travel to Miss Tsukinogi's shrine. Are there similar stories from Higashi then? There are. Well, it's not really a story, it's actually part of the liturgy that's always reciting it during the ceremonies. He even has to dance along with the music at the same time. It's really fun. The story goes something like this.
The light. Sorry.
There was once a poor old couple who lived working in the fields. One day, all of a sudden, a woman descended from the sky. The woman handed a jewel pot to the old man. When he opened it, there were more gold and riches than he'd ever seen in his whole life. The woman asked the old man to accept the treasures and to help her look for a husband. The treasures would be a gift to the old man in return. The old man brought the woman home and discussed the matter with his wife. Upon hearing such a thing, she was ecstatic. Thus the old couple hired people to repair their home and invited the woman to stay. Then they spread the news about the woman looking for a husband. The news passed quickly from person to person, and soon everyone in Higashi knew about it. But the woman was very picky, and most of the hopefuls failed to catch her eye. For those that did, she would ask them to retrieve a treasure for her. If they succeeded, she would marry them. Do people in the East all marry like that? They used to, long ago. Now, it's hard to say. At least Dad and Mom didn't get married like that. Let's continue. The woman never asked for the same item twice, but no one was able to fulfill her requests. As long as you can bring me one treasure, I will become your wife. Many ears heard these words, but even the important people from the capital couldn't do it. There were even 5 dignitaries from the capital who asked for her hand in marriage, and were only too helpless in the face of her requests. One of them even lost his life. Search of the treasure. After that, even though everyone was still interested in the woman, no one dared to court her. Scary. 3 brothers, all hunters who lived on a mountain, heard this news and were intrigued. The eldest and second brother were interested, but the third brother believed it was just a ploy to trick people. But he couldn't convince his brothers, and so he set out with them to travel to the old man's house. Unexpectedly, the woman didn't turn them away, and instead gave them her requests. As long as you can bring me one treasure, I will become your wife. The woman asked the eldest brother for a never-melting ice crystal from the far north. For the second brother, she asked for an everlasting flame from the south. She would marry whoever brought her the treasure first. Just as the third brother was to listen to his request, the woman fell silent. Leaving the old man's house, the 2 brothers found the requests extraordinarily difficult and impossible to complete. But neither of them were willing to return to a life of hardship in the mountains. After some discussions, they decided on a deadline. 3 years. After 3 years, no matter if they found the treasure or not, they would return to this place. The third brother told his older brother not to let the woman bewitch them. But his pleas fell on deaf ears, and his brothers went their separate ways as soon as they had agreed on the deadline. Feeling resentful, as he was confused by his elders, the third brother left the village as well. So, did they find their treasures? 3 years later, the eldest brother and second brother reunited in the village. Both of them found their treasure. Wow, so they could go and get married. Over the course of their treasure hunt, the both of them had become famous and important people. But they had pledged their loyalty to different lords in different factions. With their treasure in hand, the 2 brothers led armies that clashed against each other. The entire village became a battlefield, and with both sides going on the offensive, they both suffered major losses. Many of the villagers tried to hide or escape, refusing to leave their piles of riches. The old couple ended up killed along with the rest of the villagers who stayed behind. However, there was no sign of the woman. In the end, the 2 brothers died on the very spot they made their agreement 3 years prior. They're brothers. Why did they end up fighting each other? After their leader died, both sides continued to send reinforcements into the area. Soldiers were deployed, fortifications were built, fortresses were erected. The war in that place never ended. The 2 fortresses were combined together and called Nituyo. Between the north and south fortress lies the ruins of the village, and countless dead. Of course, normally, only the first few parts are recited in the ceremony. The later parts are only enacted during the great ceremonies once every few years. As for why people of Higashi like the story so much, I'm not really sure either. The third brother and the Sky Woman don't come up again? Oh, they do. Let me think. There are a few versions of the ending. One says that after the village was destroyed, someone tried looking for the riches in the old man's house, but he found only bones. So he told everyone that the woman was a fairy who had descended to Higashi with great expectations of the land below, only to see the greed and tyranny of the people. She returned to heaven disappointed. Another version is that this was a trickster fairy, and it wasn't the first tragedy she caused, and it wouldn't be the last. After witnessing the fate of his elder brothers, the third brother decided to avenge them by killing the fairy. But he had no way to travel to heaven, and the fairy taunted him from the sky. In the end, the third brother became a ghost who wanders around Higashi, forever searching for a way to take revenge against the fairy.
Morte, come here and let me patch you up.
The kitty is meowing. My voice cracking.
I think I heard a story like this when I was little. Really? Do you know any Victorian fairy tales? Nope. I don't know many either. Let me tell it then. Alright, another story. I hope it's a happy story where no one dies this time.
Shamara begins to patch the hole in Morte.
The story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a rich Victorian kingdom. The king of this country had a pair of twins. When they were born, the most respected caster in the country came to congratulate the king on the birth of the prince and princess and offered a prophecy. With the guidance of the divine light, both will have bright futures. The king was extremely pleased and bequeathed upon the caster many treasures and riches, but when he asked the caster to explain the prophecy, he fell silent and left the castle instead. Years later, the prince and princess were grown, but the wise king had fallen ill with a terrible sickness and was bedridden. The doctor said it was a terminal illness, and that only the divine Originium could save the king. All the warriors from across the land set out to search for the Originium, including the prince and princess, disguised as adventurers. They had to join the quest to save their father. The two traveled together, searching the deepest caves and crossing the wildest forests. Miss Mouse has a very different way of speaking when she's telling a story. They stopped a scheme by an evil witch. They defeated various barbarians, all in search of the smallest clue that could lead them to the Originium. What an adventure! Finally, they had a lead. Following the clues, the brother and sister climbed up to a tall mountain. At the mountain peak, they found a monster, and its nest filled to the brim with treasure. This monster could soar through the skies. Its scaly armor repelled all manner of weapons, and from its maw it breathed a fearsome flame. The siblings could not even harm it.
Shamara stops the needle and thread in her hand.
But they were able to use the monster's greed against it, luring it into its own nest. There, the two fought against the monster for ages. In the end, the brother fell unconscious from his injuries, and the sister was left to face the monster alone. Unexpectedly, the monster did not press the attack. Instead, it opened his huge mouth, asked why they had entered its nest. The princess answered the question honestly. She needed the divine Originium to save her father's life. The monster nodded and pointed to the cave full of treasure, giving her permission to look for the Originium herself. Not long after, her brother woke up. The monster asked the same question. The brother gave the same answer as his sister, and the monster let him pass. But when faced with treasure that dwarfed even his country's wealth, the brother changed his mind. He stuffed his pockets full of treasure and sneaked out of the cave before his sister could notice. Bad guy! The sister searched through the piles of treasure for a long time before discovering the divine originium that seemed rather dull amongst the glow of the other treasures. Carrying out the originium, she realized that her brother had disappeared. She searched through the entire cave and even worked up the courage to ask the monster of her brother's whereabouts, but the monster merely grinned and said nothing. If I had a brother like that! Calm down, Popcar, it's just a story. Standing on the mountain peak and looking at the two royals in the distance, the monster let out a roar of satisfaction. The originium crystal on its body shined, a divine light that flickered along with the monster's every breath. After that, the princess presented the originium, and the king instantly recovered his vitality. He granted a great reward to the princess and even gave her a necklace made from the divine originium. Alas, even after the king was cured, he continued to grow. More limbs, a larger brain, the king eventually turned into a monster and began slaughtering people indiscriminately. The country's knights banded together and killed the monstrous king. The princess was also charged and sent to the gallows. The originium necklace around her neck shined with a gentle light up until her death. In the chaos, the old caster who gave the prophecy to the king all those years ago appeared before the princess and her divine originium, only to whisk them away. With the end of the royal bloodline, the entire country fell into chaos. What about the bad guy brother? In another country far, far away, the brother heard what happened. Though he shed tears of guilt, he continued to cram his gullet with the finest foods in the world. With the wealth he took from the monster's cave, he had become a noble in another land and lived out his days in luxury. That's unfair. Oh, I get it. Fairy tales are all monsters that eat all the good people. The Shamara is from Syracuse, right? Are there any similar stories over there?
Shamara just continues to sue Morley.
What about you, Suzerain? Long ago, there was a tribe that lived in a valley surrounded by 7 hills. Oh? The leader of the tribe, She-Wolf, had 6 children. Each of them took one of the hills and fought against each other for food. 100 years later, each child had established their own tribe, and the fighting continued as before. One of the tribes could not defeat the others, and went to snatch food for She-Wolf. Not wanting to fight her own child, She-Wolf leapt into the sky and became the Moon Shadow. Whenever the moon is covered in black, all Lupo should remember the graciousness and rage of She-Wolf. So that's where the Moon Shadow came from? The other tribes came to their senses after losing She-Wolf. They exiled the worst of them and made some rules. From then on, Lupus stopped separating themselves into tribes and called each other family instead. 6 families each took one hill, with the last dedicated to She-Wolf. Any Lupo who broke the rules would be severely punished by the Setekoli Council and the Setekoli City. Does this city still exist? Yes, but this city was taken over by a large family 100 years ago. Only the story and the rules were passed on. The end.
For more on that, go and watch the narration for the Il Siracusano storyline.
You guys go ahead.
Shamara continues to sue Morte again.
You all told such good stories, I want to share one too. It's a story Orchid told me. Can I? Of course, go ahead. Yes, you can do it. Let me think. Once upon a time, there was a really amazing, wax figure. Right, wax figure. Did she mess up? Let's just listen for now. Okay.
Shamara continues to sue Morte.
The wax figure could make lots of stuff. Everyone called him a great inventor. But the wax figure was always very sad. He wanted to find a forte to match with. Lots of people brought their daughters to him, but he didn't like any of them. So the wax figure stayed single. Until one day, the wax figure realized, since there wasn't a bride for him anywhere in the whole world, he could just make one himself. So he spent a really long time using all his savings. And finally he made a bride. He loved the forte bride he made a super duper lot and didn't want anyone else to see her at all. Ah, okay, I get it. Yeah. The king locked the wax figure up and brought his soldiers to the tower ready to snatch the bride for himself. After a couple of days, they let the wax figure go. He asked people where his bride was, and they told him. When the king and the soldiers went inside the tower, the sky rumbled with thunder and flashed with lightning. Wax oil flowed down from the top of the tower, covering the king and his men. The soldiers who escaped said the melted bride was swimming in the wax oil, using wax to kill all the bad guys. Then the country had no leader, but everyone thought that the wax figure inventor was very smart and asked him to become the new king. Wait. Not wax figure. He was a forte inventor. Did they ask the forte inventor to become the new king? I got the beginning all wrong. Should I start over? It's okay. I understood it all. Come on. And what happened then? And then? And then the inventor became a good king and invented many things. Everyone loved him. But he always hid in the palace's garden and never came out. Why? Because he was trying to make another bride. But every time he tried, he failed. None of the brides were as perfect as the first one. In the end, the inventor grew old in the garden full of brides and never came out again. The people who loved him buried him in the garden along with all his brides. Oh, finally a story with a good ending.
What do you mean by good ending? He was buried in a garden full of wax figures. Are we talking weeping angels? That is a nightmare. Sorry.
I asked Orchid where the wax bride went. She said the wax bride was stuck in the tower after it collapsed. She probably melted. But she always wanted to go back to the inventor. Maybe one day the bride will get to be with their groom again. I like warm and fuzzy stories like this. Popcar, where are you? It's bedtime. Orchid, over here. Sorry, Orchid says I have to go home and sleep. I'll see you again later. Bye-bye. I'm feeling sleepy too. Kitties, let's go. Let's not bother Shamara anymore.
Lots of meowing.
Stop that, behave.
More meowing.
Thanks for the stories, everyone. Good night. I should go home too. Dad will cry if I'm not in bed by 10. Even though Dad isn't here. Aren't you going home, Shamara? It's already very late.
I still have things to do.
Okay. Well then, good night, Shamara.
Good night.
Shamara pulls the tear closed.
Done. Morte, give me the last apple.
She brushes the pages using a finger dipped in apple juice.
There's the symbol. Morte, lie on the book. The symbol is imprinted, and we're done. Let's go home. What's wrong? Oh, I see. Let's give the book back to Suzerain. You still want another story? That's not like you. You're asking why all the stories end like that? Think about it, Morte. Think about our world. Think about what you eat and where we used to live. Does it make sense now?
Stories end like that because you leave stuff ambiguous. Anyway, this was the final story. And this was the story that wrecked my vocal cords because I had to be squeaky the entire way. Anyway, that marks the end. And yes, as you can see, a lot of these are pretty much foreshadowing or are talking about already happened events, at least events that we could have read up until then and there in the game itself. But yeah, also the thing that, like I said when I interjected there in the story, the thing that Shamara was talking about, for example, is a thing that does get explored and gets into more details in the Il Siracusano storyline, because that is pretty much what she just told there. Just very, very vague, from more of a mythical story standpoint than to what we actually learn about it in Il Siracusano. So many links in the description of the video if you want to go and listen through some old stuff or some more recent stuff, and so on and so forth. So enjoy. In the meantime, I have really nothing else to add here outside of these were all very nice little stories about every single one of them, even though some of them don't really feature the character much, like the Shamara one really doesn't feature Shamara much outside of her being there present and listening while everybody else is telling stories about their own backgrounds, or rather, well, not their backgrounds, about the backgrounds of the places that they are from, about legends and stuff. But yeah, interesting throughout. Anyway, like I said, this will be it for today and for this story. As of this recording, next week is supposed to be, I think, a dead week, so I do not know what I'm gonna be covering outside of the usual smaller uploads like module stories and stuff. Those will be coming up because I have a couple of them lined up and just not getting any time to record, but considering it's a dead week, I'll have enough time to record a couple of them, plus continuing some stuff that I didn't have time to do so far. Outside of that, thank you all for listening. If you liked this video, please consider leaving a like. It would help me a lot and mean a lot to me, so thank you very much in advance. And if you're new to the channel and like what you heard so far, consider subscribing. There is a lot else on this channel besides just this, of course. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.